Good morning, everyone.
Hello there.
We in the period of the church year that's usually described as Advent. Advent, these 4 weeks before Christmas, um, running up, leading up to Christmas, uh, and Advent meaning arrival. Usually, one would hear, they would say that was the advent of a new era, or that was the advent of a phase in history, or so, in other words, the arrival, the beginning, and there's a lot of expectation, um, an openness to something arriving. And that is also the case with Advent season.
And then in those 4 weeks leading up to Christmas would usually be around different themes that would be around Advent, like hope and peace and joy and love.
Things that come to the surface when
In
we
this period of waiting for this arrival. Yeah. So maybe looking a little bit at hope this week, and discussing that.
there's always a challenge. Well, two things. On the one hand, there's a challenge reading these old familiar passages over Christmas. One can become blunt as to its meaning, almost inoculated, or you're so used to it and you say, yes, I know the story.
Yeah, so nothing new.
Nothing new.
Yeah.
But then also, it strikes one how we often return to these passages and they bring deep comfort and a new insight in every year, a new insight as to God's love and His involvement and playing out in our lives. So it's very interesting. So this week, around the theme of hope, and if we think of that passage where Jesus has been born, he's a little baby, and then his parents walk up the steps of the temple. And there are these two old people, Anna and Simeon. And then Simeon takes this baby into his arms and he says, this is a very, very special child. I'm so glad to hold this child in my arms because he's almost the culmination of prophecies from the Old Testament. And now I can die in peace because I've seen God's potential. He has brought hope to this world. And he stands there with this little baby knowing nothing. And it's such a beautiful passage. Because if we're quite honest, and now people would say, yes, but Jesus was very special.
Yeah, he was the chosen one.
The chosen one. But I think, and the more I'm on this journey and reading the Bible, especially the Gospels, the more I'm becoming aware of the fact that Jesus is saying in his messages, people, please don't focus so much on me and worshiping me. But how can I convey to you that what I'm telling you applies to you?
What you see in me is what is also in you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people,
And he keeps saying that.
it keeps in the Gospel of John, where he says, when I'm gone, you'll do the things that I've done and greater things than I've done. He pulls us in,
And we keep
transposing it.
it onto him.
Yes, yes. And we think, and it's not a matter of not showing respect or not appreciating who Jesus was, but exactly appreciating who Jesus was and the message that he brought, where the whole message of Jesus is bringing the divine and the human together. And that, what is happening with Advent? What is happening with this? It is incarnation. It is God becoming flesh, but in a whole encompassing way, entering every flesh. And often then we make it divine, and we
separate it from ourselves.
Yes. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So in every baby that is born, there is this potential to show something of God.
Yes. I want to go as far as to say every parent could have walked up those steps, and Simeon could have taken that baby and said, this is a special baby which is bringing hope to this world.
In different ways.
In different ways.
In unique ways.
Yes.
And I think the power in that lies in actually treating people that way, seeing people that way, seeing ourselves that way.
Yes.
Knowing that we have the potential to show God, to be the Savior in many instances.
Yes.
And I mean, that sounds really not, but in the sense of being who you are and bringing hope and light to the world around you.
Yes, yes. God is taking us so seriously. Really. There's a passion in God for us, in our potential, in the hope that we bring, in what we can accomplish. We have somebody on retreat who's quite involved in the care of babies and people and infants that has been abandoned. And her big passion in this journey that she has with these babies and toddlers growing up is to help them discover their potential. And I mean, that is our challenge as well, as parents, as adults, as human beings in relationship with each other. There's this beautiful old story of this cloister where these old monks were moving about, shuffling about, and it was gradually deteriorating. And less people visited this monastery, and they were just waiting for it to close. And then one day somebody came to visit, and they took care of him. And when he left, he said he wants to give them a gift. And he said, one of you is the Messiah. And from then on, the monks started to treat each other because they didn't know who it was. And they started to treat each other as if everyone was the Messiah. And gradually there was more care, more compassion, and that had a huge influence on other people as well who came to visit the monastery, and there was this love pouring into the monastery and by the time the monks died, it carried on because it was filled with a love of people treating each other as if everyone is the Messiah.
It's beautiful.
And I think that is, and therefore there's hope. Where there's babies being born, there's hope. Yeah. So just so interesting how the old messages can open new avenues.
Yeah, and in this this time, I always feel that the Advent time, this month leading up to Christmas, is always a very, for me, a hopeful one. Of seeing family or of being together, relaxing a bit more. In South Africa, we have our long summer holiday actually over Christmas time. So it's always a time of a little bit more of a restful
Yes.
time. And that in itself gives it a certain quality.
And an
Of
openness to
expectation.
hear God in
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. So we hope you enjoy the rest and that it is a beautiful time. And we'll talk again next week.
Keep well, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.